You are listening to DC On Screen.
Hey, how you doing? Dave here. David C. Robertson, as some of you know me. Jason and I recorded our review of Season 1 of Batman Cape Crusader a few days ago, but I knew that Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve Story, was coming out on September 21st. That's my yesterday. And I knew that it would only be available on that day and on Christopher Reeve's birthday, September 25th, which has yet to come. So I decided to hold off on the Cape Crusader review and implore you all to go see Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve Story, on September 25th. Our local theater was absolutely empty. I'm not going to lie. My wife and I were ecstatic. Nobody loves an empty theater like us. We went to go see Beetlejuice, and there were kids leaping over the seats and screaming at each other from across the room, running up and down the stairs, and two adults at the top glued to their phones. And I had to go to bitch to management. I'm not 100% on what happened. The manager looked up the auditorium, said they were in the wrong one. Either way, they were dismissed or removed or sent somewhere else. But that was Beetlejuice. That was not the film I'm talking about here. This time, despite my jubilation over being alone in the theater, I was also a little bummed because I was pretty sure I was about to see something really special, and I was not wrong. Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve Story, directed by Ian Bonotti and Peter Edigi. Man, Rotten Tomatoes has this documentary at 100% fresh, 35 critics weighing in. You get 35 critics together, it's almost impossible to get any consensus, but 100%. And I have to say I agree. These guys have made a very evenly weighted, well-paced documentary about a modern-day role model, really. I guess this is probably going to get a somewhat spoilery as you can get on real life. I mean, you can go onto Google and look up the Christopher Reeve Story. It's not a movie about the Superman films. They're represented within a timeline. It is not a Superman movie. It's very much about what was inside of Christopher Reeve that possibly provided him with the ability to tap into who the Superman character is. Because more than fun superpowers, more than a cape or a costume, Superman is about hope and doing what's right for the sake of it being the right thing to do. The film, I think, entertainingly and seamlessly covers his early years, his childhood traumas that shaped him, the dissolution of his parents' marriage, his fear of never making his father proud, the competitiveness that was instilled in him from those formative years, his Juilliard years with best friend Robin Williams and naysayer classmate the late William Hurt, who hilariously, given how things turned out, begged him to turn the role of Superman down, swearing it would make Reeve a sellout. And of course, we know William Hurt went on to play Thunderbolt Ross in the Marvel films. That's no shade, life is a way of making us look at things from different perspectives. But I thought that was great. It explores his romantic life with his ex, Gay Exton, the mother of his children, Matthew and Alexandra, their romantic relationship struggles and the weight of Superman's success, and his marriage to Dana, Will Reeve's mother, and the person who uttered the 7 words that saved his life when he wanted to die after the horse riding accident that nearly killed him and left him paralyzed for life back in 95. Most importantly, it uses the words of Christopher Reeve himself with audio excerpts from his books, Still Me and Nothing is Impossible, to narrate a lot of the story. It uses a lot of interviews from celebrities who were friends with him, and of course interviews with his children, to provide a really well-rounded depiction of who he was, who he believed himself to be at different times, and who he ultimately became. It doesn't shy away from the man's flaws, his troubles with commitment, his desire to have a hit film after Superman, his inability to be present with his children, and then his 180 after the accident. He even says in the film that it took a broken neck to realize what was important. And of course, it focuses heavily on both Christopher and Dana Reeve's charity work, their activist legacy, and all of the people they've helped walk again. And look, man, you can be cynical all day long. But after seeing the film, I completely understand why James Gunn chose to make this the first official DC Studios film. It is an absolutely beautiful film. It deserves to be seen. It is a love letter to the Reeve family. how do you watch this movie and go, I know it doesn't have a distributor yet. We're just going to pass on this. No way. No way. One of the great things the film highlights is that, within all of us is the ability to overcome these overwhelming obstacles and fight for a better tomorrow. And dude, if that ain't Superman, I don't know what is. And it really did make me think about, like, maybe that's why so many people can't get past Christopher Reeve as Superman, even 46 years later. So yeah, if you're a Superman fan, you need to see this film. If you're a Christopher Reeve fan, you need to see this film. If your life has been touched by friends or family with debilitating disabilities, you need to see this film. If you suffer with depression, struggle with productivity, and making a difference with the unending threat and dread of death readying a cold, uncaring grip, you need to see this film. My wife and I both cried. We walked out of the theater in tears, and we laughed at how very sad and depressed we were. But you know what? We were also uplifted. We were renewed. Our tears were a baptism. Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve Story. It is a damn good representation of the man himself. Actually, the men, Superman, and ultimately Christopher Reeve. The fictional and the reality. Both lost their worlds. Both fought for new ones. Hope, triumphing over sorrow. Superman stuff. Obviously, Jason couldn't join me. He's in New Orleans. I would have waited for him to see it, but like I said, I really wanted for everyone to go check it out in theaters. There are really lovely visuals in it as well. It's not like the point of the film, but they did some really nice work there. Thanks to Kai for joining our Patreon as a free member, and thank you to Daniel Hunt for signing up as a full-fledged patron. If you want to hear weird warm-ups, occasional Marvel reviews, random conversations, I don't even know what all, our Patreon is at patreon.com/DC on screen. The best part, I think, is that both $1 and $5 tiers get every episode ad-free. In a few days, I'll drop a review of Batman Caped Crusader. Until then, keep some DC on your screen and make it the Christopher Reeve Story.